Even as I uh, begin, my son just reminded me that this is the 12th year of the IPL. 12 years ago, exactly on this day, the IPL played its first match. It's one of the most talked about sports league in the entire planet. And if you ask me, which is the most magical moment for me in the IPL history, I will talk about 2010 game. 2010 game on it took place on April 18th, 2010. It took place in Dharamshala, and I remember exactly. I guess just on that day of the match, I was traveling from Bangladesh into Kolkata, trying to catch a flight to come to Hyderabad. So I couldn't watch that match live, but that match was very much in my mind because that was a must-win game for Chennai Super Kings. And as soon as I landed in Kolkata, I did get to know what happened. Then I read a lot about that match. I also wrote a poem about that match, and that poem is titled. And today we're going to talk about a book of the Bible full of poems, and I want to begin with this poem, which every IPL fan will truly appreciate. Dhoni in Dharamshala versus God's son in Golgotha. Dhoni in Dharamshala versus God's son in Golgotha. It says they were just an over away from possible elimination, despite having quality players to flaunt. Just an over away from elimination, despite having quality players to flaunt. 16 runs in the last over. That's what the CSK needed to stay in the hunt. Irfan Pathan ran into ball with determination. Dhoni's effort to get those runs to blunt. The onlookers couldn't move, be it a person young or old, be it an uncle or aunt. And after Dhoni crashed the first ball for 4, 12 required of 5 balls was a new count. When the next ball he miscued for a brace, Chennai's semi-final chances none could totally discount. The next 2 balls Dhoni smacked over the fence, Irfan Pathan's ego to bruise an affront. The super cool skipper then celebrated with a rare, never seen before uppercut stunt with his hand, uppercut stunt. It was as if he knew Chennai would go on to win the IPL 3 up front. And they did, right? Dhoni scores 28 of 29 runs required in the last 2 overs. Dhoni scores 28 out of 29 runs. Of course, he was trying to do the same in the World Cup semi-final 2019 and failed. But that time he didn't fail. Dhoni scores 28 out of 29 runs required on the last 2 overs. That's what the papers reported in big font. What Dhoni did up atop that stadium in the 5,000 feet high Dharamshala's mount reminded me of Jesus, who willingly took cuts in his body, atop Mount Golgotha to open a fount filled with sinless, precious blood that will take away the sin of all who would into it will dismount. So what this poem is saying is, if we will dismount into the fountain filled with blood that Jesus opened on that mount called Golgotha, then our sins can be forgiven. So that's my poem. It's actually part of my book, Good News for the Google Generation. Dhoni in Dharamshala versus God's son in Golgotha. Now this